Hello guys, it's Erica Hargadon here, certified child sleep consultant with my private practice Babogue. I'm the creator of the Sleep series, which is an online sleep program based around my 7 steps to better sleep, which helps you get closer to your family sleep goals. And I'm a mum of 3. So there's very little that I haven't seen on the sleep front myself, and my own struggle with my first child's sleep very much inspired the why I do what I do right now. So I'm delighted to be here. Thank you so much to Kaliedy for inviting me to have a chat with you guys in terms of my top tips from a travel perspective with your little ones, and particularly in terms of sleep, and what I would recommend that you have in place to help your travel experience and your sleep experience go as smoothly as possible with your little ones. So it really doesn't matter whether you're going abroad or you're staycationing or if you're just visiting relatives. If you have a bit of a plan and if you thought about how the sleep picture and how the travel picture might pan out, then you're maybe more likely to have sleep success. Now, that said, I don't like parents to be too rigid in these things, because babies and children are not robots and they won't always do what we plan out in our heads. So keep it loose, keep your expectations real. They won't always do what the book said or what the lady in the video said. So anything that you hear here is really just guide and ideas to help you formulate a plan. So let's kick on with this. The first thing I'd like you to think about is napping, and on particularly the day you travel, how your napping is going to go. If you are going abroad, then you're potentially going on an airplane and you are bound by the time that flight is happening. And that is not always going to be in line with when your baby needs their nap. So with this, you need to just go with it and provide a napping experience for your baby on the go. And that is probably going to be in arms, sitting on your lap, wherever, in the car, on the way to the airport. Basically, where you see your child is tired, try and get them to go to sleep. And that is the core thing with traveling when it comes to flights, okay? When you are staycationing or maybe visiting a relative, you have more of an opportunity to plan your travel around your child's napping. My advice is to prioritize a nap in the cot. So if your child is on a 2-nap schedule, travel after their first nap and make that nap as long as possible. So if you generally wake them from that nap and it's a shorter nap, allow it to be a longer nap. So you're topping up that sleep tank, okay? If your child is on a 1-nap schedule, I would recommend that you travel prior to the nap. So like get up in the morning, be ready the night before and kick on and go where you're going. Or you allow them to have their good nap of the day in their cot and travel afterwards. If you're maybe bound by a check-in experience where you're checking into a hotel or you're checking into accommodation, your check-in will probably be after lunch. So traveling after the lunchtime nap is probably what I would recommend with a 1-nap experience. Do not travel at bedtime. It will not bode well. Do it around your napping. That would be my biggest piece of advice. Bring familiar objects. So if your child has a lovey, a teddy, you know, I'm sure you're saying like, duh, Erica, I'm not going to forget those. But the amount of times they are forgotten, just really prioritize bringing familiar objects from home that help with your child's sleep and napping experience. So like if you're using white noise, bring it. If you have a particular blanket that they seem to like or you use as part of their, sleep experience, bring it. Don't forget those kind of things. Bring 2. Always make sure you've got backups. Those things are going to help bring that familiarity of home, particularly if this is a first travel experience or a first sleeping outside of the home experience. It's going to help them. Another aspect is plan out their sleep environment. So like talk to the accommodation providers. Maybe this is going to be a hotel experience and you're all going to be in one room. Talk to them about the setup of the room and where they might recommend that the position of a cot would be. If it is a self-catering experience, maybe you're going to have more option around like not room sharing if your child is not room sharing at home, and you're going to be able to set up a different experience. But what I would recommend is that you bring your own travel cot. And I did this for years, staycationing in Ireland. I made sure that I always had my own one, and I brought my own one, and that I had my own mattress to go with it. Now, I was mooching around the Kaliedy site, and they have a new product called the Hook, and it is absolutely fantastic. 2 styles of travel cot that are suitable from birth and have different levels depending on the age range of the child from the mattress, so it's adjustable, and it has the ability for a changing table. You know, when you go away, you don't know where you're going to change a nappy in a bedroom. You don't necessarily want to change it on a bed. So you maybe try and set up something else. So this has the changing table built into it. And you can use it as a playpen, which I just think is fantastic, because it's one of my top tips that when you arrive at your travel spot, your accommodation, that you allow your child the ability to play in their new sleep environment. So chuck in a few toys that you've brought with you while you're unpacking the cases in the room and getting things organized. Allow baby to get familiar with their new sleep environment before you even attempt to try and let them sleep in it. The other 2 top tips I have around the sleep environment perspective, actually 3. One is bring a fitted sheet from home. In hotels, they'll offer you sheets, but they're very rarely fitted. They're normally a flat sheet, and fitted sheet is best from a safety perspective. Also, don't take it fresh out of the linen closet, guys. Have it taken off the cot so that baby has slept on it and it's got those familiar sense of home. Do the same with their pajamas and also their sleeping bag or any blankets that you use. Bring them from home so that you've got that familiarity of home on what they're going to sleep on. That's really, really important. The other aspect is darkness. And listen, I've stayed in all sorts of types of accommodation, self-catering, the hotels, guest houses, the works. And very rarely are they as dark as I would like them to be from a sleep perspective. I like real serious darkness, and that is not just my preference. That's because it supports my sleep. Melatonin needs darkness, that's the sleepy hormone, in order for it to do its best work for babies and for adults, for everyone. So once your child gets over 4 months, it really needs that darkness. So investing in a travel blackout, product is something that I'd recommend. And again, Kaliedy have those available on their website. Have a little mooch around. You'll be able to suction them onto the window. So talk to your accommodation provider about the size of the windows and what you might need to do or what they provide in terms of blackout. People are more aware of, blackout and darkness being necessary for sleep now. So they are setting up sleep environments with a darker experience. So have a chat with your accommodation provider. Going back to napping. If you are traveling and you've prioritized one nap, just make sure that you maybe do your second nap in your accommodation that day. Allowing your baby then to get used to that sleep environment before you attempt the night sleep. But keep your expectations real. Baby mightn't like it. They mightn't settle very well. It might take them a day or 2 to get into the swing of sleeping in this new place. So in your back pocket, early bedtime. And people hate me saying that. Oh, early bedtime will mean that they wake early. Well, not necessarily. It actually gives them an additional sleep opportunity, which might combat early waking. And we all want to try and avoid that like the plague. So use early bedtime if napping doesn't go according to plan on that first day, and make sure you allow them, as I touched on, that ability to play in their sleep environment prior to attempting any sleep. Also, we need to talk about routine and holidays and how those two go together, because holidays is kind of really about not being in routine, but unfortunately that doesn't always suit babies. And I get asked quite a bit about how to handle routine and napping when it comes to babies, especially babies that are well routined. And it really depends on the baby. Some babies will handle being out of routine much better than others. Some will fly at it, others will not. And there's no magic formula other than you knowing your child and whether they can handle being out of routine or not. Now, I would always recommend that you do at least one good nap in the cot a day. So if you've got a child that is on 2 or 3 naps a day, try and do at least one really good cot nap a day. It'll just top up their sleep tank and help them avoid any overtiredness that might kind of sneak in. And then you could do the other naps on the go. Again, I'd recommend that you invest in some kind of blackout cover for the buggy. It'll just help support their sleep and make it as restorative as possible. And again, Kaliedy have some amazing products on this on their website. So take a little mooch around, you'll find them there. Just make sure they fit with the buggy that you guys have. But this will really support your sleep. If you have a child that is on 1 nap a day, I would recommend that you don't completely go with naps on the go. Maybe plan your days around that core nap in the cot, or kind of have day on, day off. So that way you avoid the overtiredness. What I mean by day on, day off is maybe one day which is completely out and about, and another day which is, you know, a nap in the cot in the middle of the day. Now that can be restrictive, but if you're looking at the overall sleep picture, it just might save the nights, because if overtiredness sneaks in, then you'll feel it in the nights. They will start to get cranky. They might start to have, you know, less consolidated sleep. Things might just kind of go a little bit awry for them. If you're staying in a hotel, you mightn't necessarily need to think about this, but bring your monitor. Bring, you know, some kind of solution around this in terms of keeping an eye on your baby. If you're in self-catering accommodation, you're maybe more likely to not be room sharing if your child is old enough for that. So you could be in the living room. So just bring your monitor. It'll give you peace of mind, you know, in terms of, you know, your baby settling well in their new environment and where they're going to be. And you can keep a close eye on them. Obviously, you're going to be checking them on a regular basis, but just it'll give that peace of mind. I always brought mine with me, even when I travelled abroad, and it just helped. It helped settle me in terms of baby getting used to where we were and, you know, where we're going to be. Now, to address, you know, kind of when things go astray sometimes when you're away with baby sleep. Sometimes that might involve you kind of hunkering down for the first 2 days and getting baby used to their new place of sleep and not doing too much out of routine stuff. And that might really help. Other times you're straight into it. Maybe you've got older children and you just need to go with it. If sleep does kind of come off the bus, you know, it's not going well and you're throwing the kitchen sink at it and God, new habits get into the mix and you're not overly happy about it and I'm after ruining everything. You're not. You can get back on track once you get home. If you need to just go with it while you're away and whatever happens around sleep happens, don't worry about it. Do what you need to do. Remember, you need to have a good holiday. If you're stressing about like being in routine and everything, it might take away from it. When you get home, then you can get back on track. Ultimately, what I would say to you guys, if you're traveling with little ones and if you're having new experiences, you know, have fun. Don't overthink routine. It's going to be a couple of weeks out of 52 weeks of the year and you will get back on track. And really, that's what's most important. Definitely take in some of the core things that I've said, your sleep environment, your travel cot, the darkness, and prioritizing some napping. If you're doing those things, you're going an awful long way towards supporting your child's overall sleep picture. So I hope you found that really useful. I'd like to thank the team at Kaliedy for reaching out to me again to talk to you guys about honestly, the amazing products that they have on their website and how you can support your child's sleep when you're traveling this year. If you want to learn more about me, I'd ask you to check out babogue.com. Thanks, guys.